The Pet Expo, one of the interesting things is there's a lot of education that goes on as well. This is Duo. Duo is a rescue dog who was rescued from the meat trade in China, and that's one of the issues that you can learn about here. Duo now lives with a family here in the Bay Area, and of course, if you have a dog, if you have a pet that you're taking out, one of the things that you need to be aware of here in the Bay Area, of course, is if you're outside, that's right, you said it before, Ross, getting rattled. One of the issues here that happens every year is that dogs are out with their owners and they get bit by a rattlesnake, and that's part of the business model for John Potash here from Get Rattled, which is really the whole idea is getting these animals to avoid rattlesnakes.
Absolutely. We have a variety of wildlife services, rattlesnakes, porcupines, toads, and we're working on skunks, and the goal is to get dogs to avoid the sight, sound, and smell of these animals.
And you'd figure it would be instinctive, but that's not necessarily the case, right? So dogs might encounter a rattler and they might not know that this is a threat.
Absolutely. It's actually quite the contrary, that the dogs are intrigued by the rattle and the smell, and they have a tendency to approach them rather than stay away from them.
And one of the other big issues, and we see her out of her cage right now. And this happened to my dog when I was younger. My dog encountered a porcupine.
Yeah, porcupine encounters are more frequent than a lot of people realize, and all you got to do is Google dog porcupine encounters, and there's a lot of pictures that show how horrible those encounters can be.
And what does it entail here? How long is the training session? Is this something that maybe learn quickly, or is this something that dogs need to come in for a couple of times to learn all the various threats that they can encounter outside?
Dogs pick it up very fast, but we do always recommend at least one retrain after the initial training within a year, just to make sure they get it and that they remember it. The training typically takes roughly 10 minutes, give or take. Every dog is different.
Alrighty, John, thank you so much from Get Rattled. You can see, guys, it's pretty impressive. This, by the way, is as close as I've ever been to the rattler, and it's weird. Every time you get close, there goes that rattle.
He's saying, back
John,
off.
you had a good point before.
Back off.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a completely non-arbitrary sign to back up, and that's what I'm hearing from the snake all the time. And an important note, John had told me earlier that rattlers don't always rattle when they're about to strike, so it's important to make sure that your pet is trained to avoid them, the sight, the sound, the smell, everything, because they could still get bit even if you don't hear that rattle.
You need to take a step back there, Christian. That's way too close for me.
The rattler's personal space. Good thing my dog is kind of wimpy and would back up on its own.
Oh, my Lord. I don't know why that's so terrifying, but oh, wow. And you know, that those porcupines, actually, I think they can actually throw their quills. So, I mean, even if the dogs are, can't they? Right? They can throw the quills?
And that's actually a misnomer. They actually, I talked with John about that specific thing, and porcupines do not throw their quills. The dog actually has to encounter the porcupine. So if you stay a safe distance away, you don't have to worry about your dog being struck by quills because the porcupine is throwing them. That is a common, you said, a common misconception.